Hi guys, hope you all are doing well and are enjoying the markets as much as I am, right? Excellent. So we start with the disclaimer as always. Anything and everything that will be shared in here is purely for educational purposes only, right? And this by no means directly or indirectly recommends any trades that you might want to take, right? And for that, you consult your financial advisor. Excellent. So, what did we analyze? It's been a while since we did the analysis. So, if I look at this on September 8th, right, this is what we had analyzed drag area. This was on September 9th, right? We had both the possibilities open, and this was on September 10th. Apparently, 10th is no, this is the last one, right? We said, could we be doing breaking 25, 138? Could we be doing completing 5, right? So, what did the markets do, right? It went beyond 5, and this is the area that we had analyzed, which was this in here, right? And it broke and it continued to move lethargically or grindingly up, right? Look at these gaps, right? Something that we had discussed as well. Majority of the move is coming in through gaps, and then the markets are consolidating. Gap in here and then consolidating, right? Gap in here and then consolidating. This is pathetic, right? And then this is another gap in here, and then it kind of came down, and today it opened flat and it came down south, right? So this is a very different market in terms of personality, because if you recall right from in here, when the Jane Streets went out, the market is the personality has basically changed, right? Lack of momentum, lack of wicks, lack of premium, right? So if you're a seller, you'll find it very difficult to sell, looking at the premiums. And if you're a buyer, unless and until you're a positional trader, intraday trades are pretty risky, right? So the risk is pretty high for both sellers and buyers, unless your pocket is deep and can take positional trades in the direction of the market, right? And then we spoke about deep SLs, right? Excellent. So with that said, let's take a step back and relook at the possibilities, right? So we are at 19, sorry about that. But still very early to look at the monthly candle. But look at that monthly candle. We are trading above the previous month high, right? Which is in here, which is 25,327, which is going to be a very important level. And on the weekly as well, we are trading above 1, 2, 3, 4. The previous 4 weeks high, right? So that's pretty interesting. And this is what I was talking about, right? The lethargy that we saw in here. 6 weeks of back-to-back black crows, something that caught me off guard, because I was expecting basically a bounce to short, but it went drastically down, and this is where the wick started falling, right? And the premiums went down, and since then the markets have been very tricky. This is one trending week that we had, and now we've got three white horses, right? Black crows and white horses, yes. And we've been doing higher high on the weekly. So the trend on weekly is bullish, on monthly as well, so far, right? Nothing conclusive. um, so this is a good sign. I think we touched on this, right? We were talking about a possible cup and handle. So this could be one of the areas that I would definitely be looking at, right? Just a simple trend line. While the trend lines are often failing in this market, not to be used in isolation, but this is a trend line that I would definitely be looking at, right? Is this a cup and handle? Do comment if you think. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call, and that's connected to my headset as well. Okay, there you go. Right, this is the cup. Not a very convincing one, but a possibility that can definitely open up, right? So maybe we get a rejection in here, and we go down south. That's one possibility based on price. And or we do this, right? Breakout and then retest, and boom, breaking all-time high. Either or we do this in here, and then we go down south this way, right? A much deeper one, which is what we were expecting, and I'll tell you, we'll get into the details, right? But this is based on price, because on daily the price is not bearish as yet, right from this candle. We've had this grinding markets, right? Gap up and then sideways. Look at those wicks, right? How big it is. And this, one good surprise. Don't recall what was the event on Tuesday, 16 September. I think there was something that came out positive, right? And so that's the possibility. Now, on this candle, today's candle, this many of us could, be confused with, what's the name of the candle I'm trying to recall, where the trend reverses. Yes, hanging man, right? So this is something that I had yesterday as well, and right, the market opened somewhere in here, mildly muted slash negative 30 points, and then we saw that selling. The question here is is this hanging man valid? Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Right, so is this a valid hanging man? Yes, the possibility is open. But what typically happens is trading view averages the last 30 minutes, and if I switch to 24 hours, or even if I keep it into the day candle, remember this is a working session, right? So there's no absolute editing or anything. So if I look at yesterday's low, it is 329, and today's close is at 327, right? This is on the daily. If I convert this into a 24-hour day candle, look at that, right? The close has come up to 35 352, and here it is 329, right? So the close has come at 352. So I'm still not looking at this as a valid hanging man as yet, or I'm more biased towards bullishness for now. Right, because price on all different time frames are bullish, and I'm going with the trend, right? It's better to buy the dip rather than selling the rise so far, right? And we'll get through the details with options data and finally conclude. So price is bullish, right? There's absolutely no reason to be bearish as yet, right? So that's that. And then if I move on to the hourly or even 75 minutes candle, because that includes the last 35 minutes, look at that, right? One, two, three, not a single candle that is closed below the previous candle's low. So this is one of the possibilities that we were looking at, and we went live, sorry, I went long, basically somewhere in here, and also averaged somewhere in here. I think this was the candle where I went long, but basically it remained at cost, right? So this is one of the possibilities. And so if I look at price and this wedge in here, there was a mild RSI. The possibility of a gap up is much higher, right? It was not a clear RSI, but price did confirm, and we'll cover that when we touch Elliott wave, right? So breaking 25 360 is one of the possibilities that I'm looking at on Monday, because price is bullish, and this gave an opportunity, right? So taking a step back, let's look at the options data now, right? Change in OI for 23rd September, more calls than puts, so clearly bearish, and that's the selling that we saw during the day. And then the second half, a bit of uh, short covering, right? Or the market recovered. So that's that. So price is bullish, options data, change in OI is bearish, and if you look at the overall open interest, 25 300 is a support and 25 400 is a support, right? So this is a very tight range, and the overall positions are more inconclusive for Monday, right? It's saying, hey, I'm going to open more muted. God save the low wicks and the premiums. And I really wonder, how the option sellers or the big guys are holding or selling options with such low premiums, because their ROIs have gone down terribly down south, right? They would want higher premiums, but unfortunately, only the big guys can, with deep pockets, can take the hit or sell options given the markets that we are at, right? I often say you need to know when to sell options and when to buy options, right? And you need to know when to save your capital and when to make money in this market. And this is the perfect time not to sell options and not to aim to be profitable, but to save your capital. Because if you can get through this tough phase, you're better prepared for a better opportunity, right? You can't be hitting sixes on all the balls, right? So look at that wix, right? This is crazy. I'm on the monthly, and if I look at the uh, close, the month is not over as yet. This is one of the lowest close so far, while we've got 10 more days to go, right? So if it closes below that, I mean, below 10 itself is a joke, right? So stay extremely cautious. So that's wix. And absolutely, I personally want a huge spike, right, in either direction of the price. I want wix to shoot up because this is very, very abnormal, right? And looking at the history, now we are in the month of September. Look at that, right? We had September last year also. So is this a cycle that every September we are doing low? So let me use the cycle in here, right? This is November, September to July, August. There you go, September, right? So you see in and around in that area, September's we've done low. So hopefully this changes, and VIX shoots up from October onwards. But something that's very, very important, right? So that's VIX. We saw the options data. Options data is more neutral. Moving on to Nifty, right? I mean, I hope you're following all the videos, and if you're here for the first time, go watch our long-term analysis, right? This is what we looked at from a long term, and it gave this fake breakdown. So moving on to hourly, this is I'm going to jump to that, right? So this correction is something that we looked at as a corrective wave, right? We said this could be the correction that's getting over. So we said um, this could be an A, B, and C, right? And the correction getting over in here. And then here, if you recall, we had two possibilities all through this, right? If you haven't watched, guys, please go and watch the previous analysis, right? If you recall, we were contemplating on this a lot. If this is an impulsive wave or a corrective wave, right? So if I move to primary, we had this as one of the possibilities, and I had this as another possibility, A, B, and C, right? Changing into higher degree. And then this we looked at as another ABC, right? Since this retraced way too deep, I was personally more inclined towards this as a corrective wave, right? Now, with that said, we also had this as an ABC, right? That's the last analysis that we did, and we said 5 is ongoing, right? It is important to reflect back and why I'm, getting to this level of detail so you can learn from it. And if you are and you think our videos are adding any value to your analysis, hit the like button and comment, right? YouTube appreciates, or YouTube algorithm appreciate how much it appreciates your likes and comments, and that's also what keeps me motivated to get everyday video in here. So let's see how the responses are, right? So this is what we had. Unfortunately, this C is has been invalidated, right? So now that the price has gone up, and if you look at the Fibonacci projection, pay attention, students, right? Because this is where things get challenging, right? The market personality has changed, right? And so has the liquidity, and the entire overall wave. And at times waves may not fit perfectly, and that's when you should be innovative and try to see how things are evolving, right? So if this is the case, look at this projection here. If this is an A, B, C, we're still at 127%, right? So this entire move in here This can be an A, B, and C. Is this a C wave? It doesn't look like it. So if that's the case, can this be a Y? Possible. But if I look at this bounce from in here, this, clearly it's an ABC. If that's the case, are we still unfolding C, right? Which is, this is an A. Let me delete this and make this, right? Which is, this is a 1 of 5, right? 2 of 5, and then 3. This is more a running, flat, or an irregular flat, right? This is 2, and then this is 5, right? So is this entire stretch of 5 wave where C is, has gotten over, and we're going down south? This is, one of the possibilities that is definitely open, right? um Hold on, 3 should be here. Made a mistake, because this was a 2 in here, right? Wrongly placed, right? This is a running flat A B C. So we're talking about ABC. This looks more like an impulsive wave. But yeah, this is the only way to force it if I'm looking at this as a corrective wave, right? This, though, while clearly looks like an impulsive wave. So now this, with this impulse wave in here, I have to take a step back and look at the bullish possibilities, right? But this is one of the possibilities that are definitely open, right? While this may look impulsive, right? And this is clearly an ABC, or this could be an A, B, and C, right? Another, or this could be a WXY. That's a good one, right? So I'm removing wave 1 in here. So this I'm looking at as, this is an A, right? 333 or 335. This is a B, and then this is a C. This is, one of the possibilities. So what it becomes is, this entire move in here, W, this becomes X on the top, and then, we're going down south, Y. This is, one of the possibilities that are open. Now price is bullish, right? So logically I should be more looking at a bullish possibility rather than a bearish possibility for now, right? So when will I be bullish? I will be bullish if it breaks 2540, right? And if it breaks 25,284, I will be bearish below this, right? So bearish below, back to basics price, right? Bullish above. This is, the possibility. So this becomes an ABC. And I think once again Monday's opening is going to be very important. And we'll summarize that, right? So this I'm going to make it as super millennium, right? So this becomes an ABC. Now the bullish possibility is this, right? It has retraced up to almost, 90% of this entire bounce in here. Does this qualify for an impulsive wave? Why not, right? I'm going to change the color so it looks a bit, let me change it to green, right? So this becomes an impulsive wave, and this ABC becomes a corrective, which means we are technically unfolding wave 3, right? If so, we should have a clear impulsive waves, right? Which it is not. So can I look at this as a 1 2 1 2, and then unfolding 3? um, Certainly, but this is how I'm going to look at it, right? This is 1, this is 2, and this becomes 1 of 2, 2 of 2, or this becomes ABC. That's, looking very unusual. And then, we're talking about another, subway 1. Let me change this to blue. This is, where things are getting extremely complex, right? This becomes subwave 2, and then this becomes subwave further at a lower degree, right? A lot, too many lower degrees is what we're going to see, right? I'm going to mark this as 1. This becomes 2, and then this becomes 1 2 3, right? This becomes 3, and then this becomes 4, right? And then we are unfolding 5, right? Pay attention to the brackets. So this is, the one of the possibilities, and this looks like more of 4, right? And an ABC is over because this is at a lower degree. Okay, there you go. This is 1 2 1 2, then this becomes another 1 2, right? So take that back. 3 is still ongoing, 4 is still ongoing. This is at a much lower degree, and I'm going to mark that as, this is the beauty, right? I'm going to mark this as much lower degree, 1, right? This becomes 2, this becomes 3, this becomes 4, right? This is more real time analysis. I didn't have access to my PCs, and this becomes 5, and this is also where 3 ends, right? Look at how beautiful it is, right? So multiple one twos is the only, impulsive possibility, that I can think of. Unlike on futures, if you recall, we looked at this as an impulsive wave, right? Look at that beauty. So if you haven't got it, go relook at how we numbered it, right? Because there's a lot of details into it, right? And if you recall, this is what we discussed, saying future could be doing a leading diagonal, and if so, we would be touching 25 651, right? The other possibility which looks better on future is this, right? Are we doing again similar, multiple one twos, 1 2? I'm going to park 3 4 5 there, and look at this, right? This looks like a leading diagonal at a lower degree. And then, wave 2, hardly any retracements. Look at the shallow retracements, guys. It's not giving any opportunity to enter with confidence, right? One is having the view, and the other one is the ability to take trades, right? So is this 2? And then we are unfolding 3 of 3. I was expecting a very fast move at 3 o'clock today, right? Because of this whipsaw. I was also increasing the position sizing at one point of time, but since that move didn't come in, I exited, and I'm carrying a small position of longs, because you can never be very confident, but that's the view that I have. And if this is 3 of 3, we're doing a massive gap up, and today's entire candle could be a bear trap, which is what I'm inclined towards for now. And looking at the possibility of a muted and or a gap up opening, which I expected today, it didn't happen, and it's been going on with me for a while, that the view gets the price reflects that view the day after, right? Because of the lack of momentum, and all other reasons, right? So that's the possibility that I'm inclined towards, right? Because if you look at this retracement in here, almost 50%, and this one was hardly anything, right? This one had a good retracement, so future chart looks a little better from a structure standpoint, right? Anywhere between 50 to 61 fib, and this one was a bummer, right? Look at that, how low of retracement it is, and that's typical of wave 3 while the momentum is still lacking, right? So that is all I had for Nifty. Let's look at Bank Nifty, right? So Bank Nifty, a similar story, starting with weekly, three black or three white horses. Let's add volume. Let me also add volume on Nifty, guys. Right, this is not always about recording for YouTube, but also for my own personal volume profile. I'm going to kill it. Right, look at that. Today we had some relatively good volume. At some point of time there was a divergence, which is not the case anymore, at least at closing. Bank Nifty is even better, right? Could be the GST news, which I'm not following. I think it goes live on 22nd. Yeah. So price on Bank Nifty is bullish. And any dip, hopefully, unlike the 6 candles that we saw on Nifty, gets printed. Daily is it's done lower high and lower low, and so has Bank Nifty, remember, right? But if I switch to 24 hours, it's closed exactly at that level, right? So Monday's opening is going to be very, very important. And I think positive news is should build, at least what I'm anticipating, or inclined towards during the weekend. From US, India tariffs, and let's see how things evolve, right? So Bank Nifty price is there's no reason to be bearish. Let's look at the open interest for Bank Nifty. Very liquid as always. 11 lakhs options data is bearish. Total overall open OI is bearish with the support at 55,500, right? And that's interesting. 55,494 is where we've closed, and this is 55,000, right? And 55,500 is the resistance. So yeah, once again, Bank Nifty illiquid, nothing conclusive. But if we look at the bounce from in here, we have a similar. Um, at times, I also tend to look at, can this be a triangle? Um, and no, it is not. Right, so it has a similar structure, right? The only possibility that we can look at is this is one, two, and then three, four, five. Let's see what how much projection does it have. Yeah, that's way too extended. So even if it is an ABC, but we do have a similar pattern like we did on Nifty, right? Look at that, one, two, three, four. While three is not the longest, it's okay. Five got extended. That's okay as well, right? So this could definitely be a similar pattern to what we discussed, right? Which is this is a one, uh, one, two, and then at a lower degree, one, two, right? So you know this is one of the possibilities that I'm open for. So taking a step back to summarize, price continues to be bullish, right? And I would use the word cautiously, right? Cautiously bullish because of the lack of momentum. Because this is not the time to go all in with conviction. And even if it is bearish, if it breaks this, I would be cautiously bearish. But that's the overall picture, right? Will this be a bear trap? At least that's what I'm inclined towards with today's move, and inclined towards a gap up on Monday, right? That's all I had, guys. And do hit that like button if you haven't already. There's a lot of effort that goes behind in recording this video, and I'm sure you appreciate that. Guys, have a great rest of the day and the weekend. I will absolutely be looking forward to your comments, your views, and the insights and the healthy discussions, right? Guys, have a great rest of the evening. Bye now. Cheers.